Hey everyone, welcome back. It's your investing coach Wahida here. This is where you're able to build wealth and build generational wealth, even if you're the first person in your family to do so. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about a question I got recently, and it's one that I get often, and they were asking, what's the setup that I should have for my investing account? Accounts should I have? How much money should I be putting into it? What's the system look like? And I get it. This is confusing stuff. If you do just a quick Google search, you're gonna find a slew of different accounts you can open, different investment strategies, and some are tax advantage accounts, some are not, and some are more targeted for medical purposes or education or retirement. And there's a lot out there for sure. So I want to go over a few accounts that work well for retirement, and it can work well for a majority of people. Again, this isn't a one-size-fits-all scenario. You kind of take what you leave, what you don't, but the scenario I've seen with my coaching clients works well for a lot of people. If you're in this scenario, so you want to make sure you have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund, because you never know what can happen in emergency. It's a matter of when it will happen. And you want to make sure that you are tackling and taking care of any high interest debts. So think credit card debts. Those debts will cost more than what you would be able to get if you're investing in the market, essentially. And the only thing that would trump starting to do both of those right away is if you are working right now and you have a 401k or a 403b with an employer and they offer an employer match. So that's the number one thing actually on this must-do list if you have access to it. So making sure you get your 401k match if it's available to you. So our 401k is a employer-sponsored retirement plan. And I mentioned a 403b, and that's also an employer-sponsored retirement plan. It's more for nonprofits. The 401k is more for private companies. If you have a 401k and you're offered a match, make sure you're doing whatever you can to get this match. So essentially, this is a benefit for you as an employee, and it's your money. So do what you can to get this money. It's yours. Don't leave it on the table. So for example, maybe your employer says if you put 5% of your paycheck into your 401k, we'll match you at 5%. This is essentially the only place where you can get 100% return on your money like that. So we're not going to leave this money on the table, right? So make sure you're getting it, because it can be thousands of dollars in a year. What's the next thing that you can look into? The next thing you can look into is a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA is an individual retirement plan. It's a tax advantage account where the money goes in after tax. So the money hits your checking account first, and then you move it over into a Roth IRA, and then you invest that money within the Roth IRA. The money goes in after tax, but then it grows tax-free. And then when you're pulling that money out for eligible withdrawals, it's tax-free. So if you have it in the stock market for the next 30 years, and we're maxing out the Roth IRA, and just quickly, because I do go over this in a different video, you can see that the red line is your future value, how much you would have in 30 years. That green line is how much money you've contributed into the account. And that gap in between, that's your gains. And those gains are tax-free if you're investing it within the Roth IRA. So there's huge tax advantages here. And the government knows it, right? So that's why they put a limit on how much you can invest in a year. So the 2023 contribution limit is $6,500. And there is also an income limit. So if you make over a certain amount of money, then you become ineligible to open a Roth IRA in the traditional sense. There are loopholes for you to get around this, and it's a legal loophole, and it's essentially just opening a traditional IRA, funding the IRA, and then converting that into a Roth IRA. So it's not that much of a loophole, but it's there, and it's a legal loophole. If you're hitting your 401k match, you're maxing out your Roth IRA, and you're like, I still have money left over that I want to invest. First of all, like, congratulations, good for you. Like, isn't this what our parents and grandparents, why they immigrated all the way over here to the US for? Like, for us to have an abundant life. So all I ask for you now, if you find yourself in the situation, tell your community how you got here, right? Tell them what you're doing. Bring your community up with you. Okay. Now, if you still have money left over and you want to start investing more, where can we look into putting that money? One thing you can look into, if it makes sense for you, is an HSA. So an HSA, it's a health savings account. It's connected to high deductible health insurance. So essentially, the HSA has an investing component. So you can fund your HSA, and it's meant to be used for medical purposes. They're the way where you can use it for retirement purposes if you don't feel like you're going to use it all for medical. And so the HSA has an investing component to it where the money goes in, and you don't need to invest it if you don't want to. But if you're like, oh, I'm not going to use all of this money, and you're wanting to like max it out, then you can put money into it. It's yours to keep forever. This account is yours forever, so you're not going to lose it at the end of the year or anything like that. So it doesn't hurt to like max it out if you're able to. The only one thing you want to consider is, does having a high deductible health insurance make sense for you? So a high deductible health insurance makes sense for people usually if they're on the healthier side. So if you don't really plan on going to the doctors, other than essentially what you're saying to the health insurance is, I don't plan on going to the doctors very often. So if I do go to the doctor or outside of my yearly checkups, then I'm willing to pay more out of pocket for those visits. And then in return, I want to have lower premiums, so you lower monthly payments for that insurance. And then you'll have access to the HSA. And then actually a lot of times employers will incentivize you to have an HSA. So essentially the HSA for 2023, the contribution limit is $3,850. So if you put money into that, the money goes in pre-tax, and then it grows tax-free. And then if you're pulling it out for medical purposes, that's tax-free as well. So essentially, this is like a triple threat. You may essentially never end up paying taxes on this. So it's a very powerful tool. And people, millennials and Gen Zers have started using it in large numbers for retirement purposes. Because if you don't end up using it for medical purposes, and then at 59 and a half, when you're at that traditional retirement age, you can start pulling that money out, and you just have to pay taxes on like a 401k. So it still goes in tax-free, it grows tax-free, and then when you pull it out for just regular things other than medical purposes, you just pay regular income taxes on that. Okay. So now, if you still have money left over, after that, you've maxed out your Roth IRA, your HSA, and you've put money into your 401k match. But now we can take a look funneling money back into your 401k. So your contribution limit for a 401k for 2023 is $20,500. So you can think about now putting money into that. And money goes into a 401k pre-tax, and then it grows tax-free. And then when you pull it out at 59 and a half or later, you just pay income taxes on that. If you have maxed out all those accounts and you're like, I've got some money left over still, keep in mind, this is about like $30,000-ish that's being invested. So like, honestly, congratulations to you. Like, this is very exciting news. And I still want to like get more dollars invested. You can take a look into investing within a non-tax advantage brokerage account. But I say this as a caveat because this information isn't a one-size-fits-all scenario, right? Maybe you're part of this sandwich generation where you're thinking about investing for your parents, for their retirement. You're investing for yourself, and you're also wanting to invest for your children or your future children if you're thinking about having kids. If you are in this situation, it's stressful. So give yourself some grace. But now maybe it's a situation where you're thinking maybe you're needing to have your parents open a Roth IRA if they haven't, or different tax advantage accounts for your parents. And maybe you're needing to also put funds into those accounts. Maybe if you have kids, you're thinking about education. You want to cover education costs. Maybe now it's thinking about opening a 529 plan. And this is a tax advantage account where it's more geared to have tax advantages if you're paying for educational expenses. So there's different accounts out there for different purposes. So again, none of this information is a one size fits all. It's for you to have a general idea of what's out there and what can work for you. So take everything that's on the internet with a grain of salt, right? And with that, I want to say thank you for joining me. If you need more personalized assistance, this is when you can take a look into reaching out to a certified financial planner or a financial advisor, where they can look into your situation on one-on-one, because none of the advice on this channel is investing advice. It's really more for educational purposes, for you to get a strong foundation on how to invest and build wealth for you and your family. Join me next week for new videos. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.